Brand new week in the NBA here, and today seems like a fun one where we've got a lot of guys out already, some underpriced players as a result, but the work begins for today's NBA slate, as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. NFL slate today, be damned. We're going to dig in and compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see who the top plays are, who the top value plays are. We'll also go game by game, check the ownership along the way, see what things are looking like on that front as we go and try to find the leverage spots. We'll hop over to Stokastic. We'll run a sim on there, see what things look like without my interference. I'll try to do a hand build. By this video, guys, you will know all of the industry's must plays along with my splash plays for today's January 12th NBA slate. Let's get into it. Hope it was a good weekend for you guys. Obviously, a lot of football going on. Glad to have playoff football, but the NBA is still here, and I do believe on these kind of situations where we have Monday Night Football going on, our last Monday Night Football slate of the year. It's an ugly one with Texans Steelers on paper, not a high total in that spot. But I do think there's an advantage to playing NBA on days where we do have NFL taking people's attention away, myself included. So we'll see what we get today, but let's make it count, guys. Shout out to the chat. We got our guy Fistula here. Happy Monday. Let's get into it, or let's get it. Yes. And let's get into it as well. Luka Doncic, not on our main slate today, but he is my top projected player. And this is going to be a weird one. Prepare for some weird stuff because Jaylen Brown's out today, or he's doubtful, but he's going to be out. But it's going to be a weird one with how the projections work. So I'm going to back it up with data in a moment. But Luka Doncic on our late slate, 61.5 fantasy points. If he were available, I don't know if they're, let me see real fast. Does FanDuel have the late games on today? FanDuel. No, FanDuel also does not have Luka on the slate. Well, if you're playing a late slate, it'll look good, I guess, on either site. Luka Doncic, good projection. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. he's the top projected guy in the slate. And you're glad to have playoff football back as well as I keep clicking back between two Steven chats. Look, it's nice to have it as an ugly game today, but if you want to learn more about that NFL slate today and how I'm viewing that showdown, you can check out the NFL channel at Splash Play Pod. You can see my video on there. Peyton Pritchard. So let's go over to NBA Wowie, an early start at NBA Wowie. But I have Peyton Pritchard at 48.6 fantasy points. Stokastic has him at 41.8. Fields expected to play him in 80% of lineups today because Jaylen Brown being doubtful is massive. Jaylen Brown right now is your highest usage player in the NBA, putting up over 36% usage, now closer to 37 with where he's been. He also plays massive minutes. So you're getting it on two fronts for Peyton Pritchard today, and also, for the rest of the Celtics as well. And then for Boston, in the spot today, even with no Jaylen Brown, you are getting a 115.5 point implied total. You're facing Indiana as well, a defense we're not particularly scared of because they are worse than league average. And it is going to be a pretty good pace up as well because the Celtics play generally about a 95.6 pace. Pacers are at 101. So for Peyton Pritchard, it's all wheels up on that front. But it gets even more wheels up when we go to NBA Wowie over here. Let's filter for just this season. Let's take old Jaylen Brown. You can go back to Twitch. He's off the game tonight. You can see here, Peyton Pritchard producing 1.25 fan sports minute. What's interesting to note here is that he's putting up more assists per 100 possessions than Derek White, about one full assist more than Derek White is. He's also putting up basically the exact same usage as Derek White, 29.2% usage for Peyton Pritchard, 29.7% for Derek White. Anthony Simons does get an uptick in usage well. It gets to about a 28.3% usage rate, does assist a little bit, averages 1.01 fantasy points per minute. But Peyton Pritchard with the 1.25 fantasy points per minute, Derek White with the 1.26. These guys are not priced for Jaylen Brown to be doubtful, assuming he's not going to play when a guy is doubtful. That's the situation they're in. So they're not priced for this right now. Peyton Pritchard, despite being 6,900, expected to play 36 minutes. At that pace of 1.25, let's say 1.3. When we're accounting for the matchup today, I would have Peyton Pritchard as a 1.33 fantasy point per minute guy. It's massive. He's the Luka Doncic of the actual slate. So Peyton Pritchard, getting him in 100% of my lineups right now in the Stokastic Sim. You can make the case, knowing the field is there, if you wanted to be willing to lose half your entry fees today, play half your lives with Peyton Pritchard, get unique around that, I suppose. But really, at 6,900, it's too nice of a price tag for Peyton Pritchard because of the fact that Jaylen Brown is out. And my projection is, again, appreciably higher, but there's just a lot of stats to fill with Jaylen Brown out and a lot of minutes to go around and not a lot of Celtics who produce particularly well. But you can make the case if you are, I know some of you guys out there, big Anthony Simons fans for DFS. You make the case that maybe like I should have some of Peyton Pritchard stats going Simon's way, but per 100 minutes as well, or per 100 possessions rather, the rates are even more beneficial towards Peyton Pritchard, where he is putting up. I should actually get it on this version of NBA Wowie too, instead of the one on my laptop. But for some reason on NBA Wowie, it saves different versions to whatever computer you're on. So stupid, but that's how it goes. Peyton Pritchard is putting up 37 points per 100 possessions. Again, 10.5 assists per 100 possessions. He's also grabbing about 8 rebounds per 100 possessions. And Derek White's stats, 32 per 100, about 8 rebounds as well, rounding up to 10 assists. Anthony Simons about 34 points per 100. The point is, like, these guys should be able to hit, as relative to the minutes that they're going to play for, Anthony Simons' case, but for the other two, for Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, they're going to be able to do that full ceiling of what they normally produce without Jaylen Brown, because there's really no barrier for them. Like, unless Indiana somehow, beats them, it is a back-to-back for Boston. So I could see that being, that's right? Well, let me make sure that actually is a back-to-back. No, it's not a back-to-back. I'm an idiot. Sorry. It's a back-to-back for Philly and Toronto. That's who I'm thinking of. It's not a back-to-back for them, so no reason to really have any, like, soft fade in your brain on Boston today. You get Pritchard, you get Derek White, you play him as much as you could possibly get him. That's the rule for the day, for me at least. And if you want to fade me, I would still get him in half my lineups. Kawhi Leonard, late slate play as well. 36% ownership for the field. Nice projection for him at 48 fantasy points, basically between my projection and Stokastic's. But he's not in the main slate. We've spent enough talking about Luka Doncic, so we're not going to talk about him anymore. Michael Porter Jr., 22.4% ownership for the field. I'm getting him at 69% because of there being value on the slate. Toronto in particular opening up some value, which we'll see in a moment when we sort by value. Michael Porter Jr. at 8,700. No Cam Thomas today. No Igor Gioman as well. They are sort of shorthanded by Brooklyn standards. The big men are in. And you have enough of the bench guys in. But for how it looks for Michael Porter Jr., let's pull up NBA Wowie for this too. Why not? It's only a 4-game slate. We could spend some Wowie time today. Let's take off Cam Thomas. Let's take off Gioman as well. Gioman gets some possessions. You would have MPJ at a 1.2 fantasy point per minute. If you take just Cam Thomas off, it looks like those rates might be a little bit higher. This is one of those choice things you can make if you are like me and you pull rates in. Just Cam Thomas off. Michael Porter Jr. is at 1.3 fantasy points a minute. And that's a very stable sample size of 1,500 plus possessions as opposed to the 400 or so that he has with no Gioman and no Cam Thomas. Michael Porter Jr. in this court time without Cam Thomas this year, 31% usage, 10% rebound rate, 5 assists per 100. The big thing for Porter Jr. at this point is like, I think Haynes reported he was likely to, or was a lock to be traded. I think was the exact quote. So maybe that's something where the minutes for Porter Jr. start to creep down a little bit because of the fact that, they don't want to injure him. And especially given the fact that they did play yesterday as well. So a lot of teams are on back-to-backs, but not Boston, the one team that I mentioned. But Porter Jr. was out yesterday for rest, so him being in today, you assume that he gets as much run as possible. But for Michael Porter Jr., he's really good. He's priced, I think, at a reasonable amount at 8,700. My projection is at 47.2. Stokastic is at 44. So you will get less naturally if you just use their data. But for me, he looks like a great play, and he's in currently 69% of my lineups with a field of 22. Tyrese Maxey, we have Q tags on Joel Embiid, on Paul George, but right now they're in the data set because we keep guys in the data set when they're questionable. We take them out when they're doubtful or out, obviously. For Tyrese Maxey, if you get those guys out, that's to me the way that he will look a lot more playable at 10K. We have nobody we want to pay up for on the slate. In fact, Donovan Mitchell at 9,400, James Harden not on the slate. That's really your only pay up option in the 9K range. So there's nothing we're trying to get to. Mitchell, sure, you can, but he's not a particularly great play relative to the usual. So easy to afford your MPJs, easy to afford your Tyrese Maxeys if you want to go there. But for Maxey, not a great projection at 46.8 for me, and mine is higher than Stokastic's at 45.9. As a result, Maxey about 2% owned by the field. I'm getting 1, but if George and Embiid are out, then we're going to get more. And for what it's worth, too, Stokastic, for some reason, did not put Kelly Oubre back in the rotation. He played 30-plus minutes yesterday. There was some assumption, I think, that he wouldn't play in the back-to-back, but he's available according to the injury report. So Maxey's projection will come down a little bit when they get Oubre in the data set, and then I assume it would come up exponentially again if you get Paul George and Embiid out, both guys being Q tags. If you get just one out, Maxey will look better, but still be hard to get to at 10K. Derek White, not quite as good of a play as Peyton Pritchard because he's 8,400. So he's probably where he should be, more than where he should be on a normal slate where Jaylen Brown plays. Definitely where he should be for a slate where Jaylen Brown is out. But still a 5.5x value at that salary. Again, not to me as much of a priority play as Peyton Pritchard, but the field's at 58%. I'm getting 60. And certainly if Peyton Pritchard fails, the odds that Derek White got there in a major way are pretty high. But really gaudy projections for the Celtics guys today because, no Jaylen Brown, as we've talked enough times about in the show, he's chucking so much. He's getting more shots than anybody in the league. And he also, does create assists. But you run the risk that maybe Boston is just not the same team. And Indiana's been mostly bad for the last, forever, basically. So you don't expect them to kick Boston's ass. That is sometimes how it happens. The only way that Derek White and Peyton Pritchard fail, if I had to estimate, would be that, Indiana somehow routes them and they go nuts on them and those guys don't play the fourth quarter. Seems unlikely though. Especially given the fact that Boston is a 5.5 point favorite on the road. So I think you just take as much of both Peyton Pritchard and Derek White as you can get. Donovan Mitchell, the field's at 24%. I'm at 9%. My projection is about 1.4 fantasy points lower. Donovan Mitchell at 9,400, going to be easy to afford on the slate with some of the value opening up. And if there is more that opens up, certainly then it'll be even easier to get there. That's part of why I think the field's getting 24%. That said, for me, really focusing the ownership on the guys we need to get, which in my data's opinion is Pritchard, Porter Jr., and Derek White. Donovan Mitchell not in that mix, but if I get there, I'm not going to be mad at it. Right now, getting 9%, and the field's at 24. James Harden, late slate, looking okay as well at 9,300, but we don't care. Cooper Flagg, not looking quite as good now. With the price tag coming up, with AD out, also no PJ Washington still. Brandon Williams doubtful in the spot. So situation for Cooper Flagg looking good in that way. Cooper Flagg too, he is playing Brooklyn. That is a positive. Like we've talked about in the past and have hit on a few times, Pelicans, Jazz. Cooper Flagg, when he is at his best, is against a bad defense that plays at a really low pace. If I had to guess, this is where we get the Cooper Flagg ceiling. Over the weekend, I think it was the Saturday slate because I did content for it. Cooper Flagg was an absolute disaster. He put up, I think he finished with 16 fantasy points, and he was 80% owned on that slate because there was not a lot of guys, and he was projected really cheaply with Anthony Davis out. Just played terribly. Maybe some growing pains with him having to deal with more added attention for having no AD, but he's been a really good producer overall with no AD. In fact, has put up, we'll do the NBA Wowie thing, but has put up 1.1 fantasy points a minute, 27% usage, 15% assist rate, 9% rebound rate, all good stuff for Cooper Flagg. I think this is where we get him looking a little bit better today. So the field's at 37%. I'm at 36. I don't want to be under on him, and I wouldn't mind getting over on him, but we'll see how the day kind of comes together. I have a little interest in Simons getting extra minutes, really the only scorer on the bench, but his price is up. His price is up, and he's not guaranteed to close, but they've closed with the three guards plus Jaylen Brown before, so certainly the odds of him being a closer now without Jaylen Brown out there, I think, are a lot higher. Lauri Markkanen, we got 9% ownership for the field. I'm getting 11. It's a shockingly high total for that Cleveland Utah game today. First game on the slate, and the only one that starts at 7 as well, I believe. Yeah, only one that starts at 7 as well, so keep that in mind. But Utah, pretty good total, 118.5 implied points. Cleveland, 132 on their side. Overall, 250.5. One of the highest over-unders we've had for a game this year. So Lauri Markkanen, that's part of why he's coming up. Field's at 9%. I'm getting 11. My projection's 1 fantasy point higher. And it is a revenge game for Markkanen as well. If you care about such a thing, I'm sure he is dying to get back to Cleveland, where people don't even want to go to the Cavs games now. Apparently, courtside tickets are like $450 today. So go see the Cavs if you're in Cleveland, because that's sick to be able to go courtside for that much. But Lauri Markkanen looking good here, and they are a gigantic dog, 13.5 point dog on the road. But certainly if they are competitive in the spot, and Cleveland has let everybody down more than enough times, that's why their tickets were so cheap now. Markkanen being one of the guys that shoots him into the game, definitely possible. He will see tough defense though, obviously, because Mobley, Allen, these are the guys who are going to make it hard for him to be as efficient as he has been this year. And Scotty Barnes, right now, Brandon Ingram in the data set, but RJ Barrett is out. Pirtle's still out as well. Jacoby Walter also got ruled out. Not that that matters a ton, but for Barnes, does help a little bit. Barnes at 8,200 to me seems a little bit too cheap. My projection, though, is 1.1 lower than the Stokastic. I have Barnes at 41.1. They have him at 42.2. But the ownership's at 28% for the field. I'm getting 19. If Ingram is out, I do think Barnes will look a lot better. But with Ingram in right now, Barnes a good play, but I think there are better ones. And clearly my data favoring MPJ. But you can make the case I'm too over on MPJ and just take a little bit of that and put it towards Scotty Barnes at similar positionality. Going to sort by value here, guys. But before we get into the stage of things, guys, I always have an ask for you. Very important for channels like mine, where I'm just one guy showing the work. Please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does mean a lot when you do that, because number one, it shows this video to more people, especially, people like you who are in the market for NBA DFS content in a space where really nobody's doing videos anywhere. There's like 10 people out there, I think, doing NBA DFS videos. But I appreciate you guys being here, and I'm going to keep doing the work Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. So make sure to join for that journey by hitting that like button down below and subscribing. And also join Stokastic, 15% off link down below. Big way I'm able to do the show is you guys signing up over there, because half the money you pay to them comes back to me. The big thing for you is you get 15% off, and that's the only deal they have going. And of course, their Sims products are great. Will make it really idiot-proof for you to get in good lineups as long as you listen to it and don't override everything. But also, you see people winning tournaments with their data and their tools over and over again. So check it out. Cheap products, expensive products, weekly, monthly, all of it 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. Last but not least, join the channel. If you want to just join as a supporter and get into the live chat, it is $5 to join down below. If you want to get my data updated throughout the night, check out the Squirt Squad tiers. The very screens I show you here on stream, you can get by either joining the Squirt Squad tier or the VIP tier if you're an advanced user and know how to use Excel and CSVs and don't need to ask me a million things about it. Been getting a new tattoo with every big win. I'm running out of real estate thanks to Splashplay. Thanks for that. It's cool to hear. I didn't know we have a bunch of tatted up bros here, but shout out Ugly 8 Game for his tats. Hope you get some tribal ones, get a tramp stamp or two. We'll make it work. All right, we got Peyton Pritchard. So despite being one of the highest projected players, actually, no, he's in fact the highest projected player on the slate for me. He's also the top value. He's a 7x value for me. Now, again, you could say my projection's too high. We went through the NBA Wowie. You saw what the data was for what we got for Peyton Pritchard. He's producing about 1.25 fantasy points per minute. Again, it's a soft match today against Indiana. No Jaylen Brown. It's going to look good, I think, no matter what. So Peyton Pritchard, 80% play for the field. I'm getting 100. You know the deal by this point. Jamal Shed, we got 4,400. We got 42% ownership for the field. I'm getting 57. Basically for Jamal Shed right now, my projection just 0.5 higher. So that's not the reason I'm getting there like crazy. But let me show you the Philadelphia-Toronto popcorn machine from yesterday. You see Jamal Shed picking up the start because we do not have Barrett, as we didn't, we didn't yesterday. We don't have him again today. His ankle got jacked up a couple games ago. But quickly Shed, Boyles, Barnes, Jacoby Walter started. Jacoby Walter then could not finish the first half, didn't play the second half. He then got Nagbaji started alongside Jamal Shed. So Jamal Shed, because having no Walter in, his starting job safe. His minutes should also be safe. He played about 15 minutes in the second half, so you project him for about 30 minutes. I think Stokastic might have him a little bit high at 32 and change projected of minutes right now. But at 4,400, he'll still come up no matter what. He's a good value. Fields at 42%. I'm getting 57. And Jamal Shed as well. You take Ingram off. This is going to look even better for him. There's a lot of opportunity with RJ Barrett and Pirtle off, but you take Ingram off, it's going to be wheels up, I think, for whoever's left in Toronto at that point. That's visible on your YouTube pick. Okay. It's hard for me to see on this screen, but let me really zoom in. Okay. I can see what we're saying now. Well, it's cool. Good, cool looking tats from what I could tell in the little version, but shout out Ugly 8 Game. Shout out all you tatted up bros out there. Gotta say, I don't know who this is. Am I supposed to know Bob Weir? I feel like I've seen that name before. Singer-songwriter. Oh, Grateful Dead. Okay. You said Grateful Dead guy. I would have known that. Oh, he died recently? Oh, that's sad. Well, very timely then. But I'm glad to help you in your journey. I am did not know Bob Weir offhand, but shout out to Bob Weir, I guess, for dying. Sorry. Rest in peace, Bob Weir. There we go. Now we got it. Danny Wolf getting more minutes because of having no Cam Thomas, no Igor Dioman. Brooklyn at this point, a little bit shorthanded, I suppose. They have guys they could put in, but some G League guys still, like the Ben Saraf tier, not playing today. Little as well, not playing for them. Not guys that matter, but it's guys they could put in a rotation, but they're not. Danny Wolf, though, getting about 27 minutes from Stokastic. Feels a little bit elevated to me. So yesterday for Brooklyn, Danny Wolf started and played 25. Now we're getting MPJ back in, but we're losing Dioman. I don't think Danny Wolf should project for this many minutes. Is how I feel about it. That said, right now he does in Stokastic's data. So getting 43% Danny Wolf, Fields at 33. Not a great projection, but he's 4K and it's a decent salary. Certainly with how much Michael Porter Jr. I have, I don't think I want to pair these guys together all the time. But at 4K, if he's starting, I think being with the field seems fine. I don't know why I have this big of a stand on him, though. Like, it's not a great projection. Dylan Cardwell, late slate stuff, good value if you are playing that. Vika Zubac, late slate as well, good value for that. Nick Claxton getting a little bit of an uptick as well from having, again, the various nets that we've talked about already who were missing. Claxton, $5,700 salary, also feels a little bit cheap. He's now back starting again after the one missing a few games, then starting or playing behind starting day round sharp. But for Nick Claxton at this point, Fields at 38. I'm getting 38. No big stands here, but definitely something that looks okay. We got 18% ownership for the field of Colin Murray Boyles. I'm getting 35. He's been playing a lot better lately, also getting legitimate run. Jesus Christ. I feel like my brain is just not, I mentioned on the NFL show, I'm like not sleeping as well lately because Luka keeps waking up in the middle of the night for various reasons. And I noticed it with just things like that, where just the word does not come to me. Anyway, for how it looks right now for Colin Murray Boyles, let's pull up the popcorn machine here too. Go back to the Philly-Toronto game. You can see he started here, played 42 minutes, including OT. So without OT, would have been on pace to play about 37. Murray Boyles not producing super well and during some stints, put up 2 points here, grabbed the rebound, had a turnover, but he is out there a lot. So that's a big thing for Murray Boyles. He does contribute a little bit in every category. At this point, the fact that he's getting a crush of minutes makes him a lot more appealing in pretty much any situation. If Brandon Ingram is out, it's only going to look better for Murray Boyles as well at 5,100 and power forward center eligible. Right now, my projection's at 28.3. Stokastic has him at 26.8. Again, the field's at 18%. I'm getting 35. So about 2x the field for me on Murray Boyles. And that'll only increase more if we do get Brandon Ingram out. Stokastic runs a promo if you get a win with their avatar. Spags is going to be the first one to promo for wins with a branded tramp stamp. Yeah, out of all the places that you want to splash play a splash avatar, I guess the helmet would be okay, or the basketball thing, but you don't want splashing jizz on your lower back. I think I guess depending, what you're trying to achieve, but you're probably sending a message that many of us would not want to send. Derek White, but shout out to those who would, I guess. I haven't heard of anybody getting a splash play tattoo, but if you do, let me know and I'll go, hey. Pretty sick. Derek White, 35 minutes right now, projected for him. Again, the spot with no Jaylen Brown looking pretty good. Fields at 58%. I'm getting 60. We've talked enough about him, but no Jaylen Brown makes the Boston guys to me. Guys, you want to get as much as possible. Not lock play for Derek White, though, because he's pretty expensive. Manuel quickly with getting Barrett out, getting no Jacoby Walter as well. Helps things out for him. No Pirtle still, obviously. But quickly, I have a 37.7 projection. Stokastic 36.2. Jamal Shed playing alongside of him kind of increased the minutes for both because they're not now in a backup starter situation entirely. Even though they would play a little bit of overlapping minutes, now they're playing a ton of overlapping minutes. Getting quickly in 55% of my lineups, Fields at 20. And again, if Ingram is out, it's only going to look better. Neemias Queta. Really big stand on him, and his minutes have gotten jerked around lately, but he does look better because of having no Jaylen Brown in, and there's just more shots to go on for everybody. You'll also have more opportunity for guys like Peyton Pritchard to create assists for Neemias Queta, rim running center. So Neemias Queta going against Indiana, not a bad thing either. The minutes have not been as good for him lately. We're looking more at 25 minutes in the projections today, but theoretically, he could still hit 28 and 30 like he had earlier in the year. My projection's at 28.8. Stokastic has been at 28.1, getting him in 13% of the lineups for the field. I have him in 35% of mine. Not a stand I'm dying to keep, but I think he's an okay play here. 2x the field feels like more than enough of Queta as opposed to what I'm getting right now. And Terrence Mann likely getting starter level run with 14% ownership for the field. I'm getting 15. He's not been a great contributor on the year. He does spike upside randomly. But the other nets to me seem low owned enough that I don't think I need to go to Terrence Mann. 3,900 he's a good value though. And I guess it'd be a pivot to your Danny Wolfs, your Jamal Shed. So he opens up some room to get more studs in, and that's fine. I love the Stokastic promo of won it the max 4 times 2 years in a row. Wow, that's very impressive. Ugly 8 game. Did not know you were, I know you won recently, but I know you're running like that. Shout out to you. Not as cool with winning with the splash ass hat. That's true. Everybody will know you're a true man of great taste if you get a YouTube channel's logo tattooed on your tramp stamp area. We're going to go game by game, guys. Before we do that, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It goes a long way for me. Just one guy showing you my work across the NBA. And, of course, I play every slate, so that's what we're doing here, showing you what I'm going to be playing off my data. You can fade it. You can do whatever you want with it. Ultimately, your gambling is your own. My gambling is my own. But I'll still give you guys the best foot forward that I possibly can here every day, Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. So show some love. Hit that like button and subscribe. And MLB coming this year, too, to the very same channel. I'm not going to make a third MLB channel, but stay tuned for that. Stokastic, 15% off again. Link down below. All their data, all their tools. Use the promo code SPLASH over there. And you will get that 15% off. That's SPLASH. I've never spelled it out loud, so I was a little worried I was going to spell it incorrectly. Even though it's in front of me on the screen, I can read it. Use that promo code. All the packages over there, even your avatar ones, are 15% off. So go check it out. It's okay. Even yearly stuff. So do that. And last but not least, join the Discord. $5 to join if you want to be part of the live chat like those great guys I've highlighted already. And we've got some gals sometimes as well here. But join down below. Do that. And of course, if you want my data updated throughout the night, check out the Squirt Squad tiers and find a package that works for you and fit it into your crevices. Utah, 118.5 implied points. In Cleveland, 132 implied points. Massive combined total here with the 250 total that we talked about here. 250 and a half, actually. So Utah, though, they're back to full strength. That's not great. Lowry, Markkanen, Keontae George, both guys priced about where they should be. Though if Nurkic were out, if Ace Bailey were out, they would look just well enough to want to get to in a meaningful way. But Nurkic and Ace Bailey both back in today. As a result, Kevin Love mostly likely being exiting from the rotation, not expedited from the rotation. Jesus. For Kevin Love at this point, think that at 4,600, not a guy you would have cared about with Nurkic in anyway, so that doesn't matter too much. But Nurkic getting 25% of, that's the biggest stand I have here. Markkanen, given that high total, you need scoring to come from somewhere. He and Keontae George would be your most frequent suppliers of that. Ace Bailey coming off the injury. Stokastic has him at 20 minutes. Hard to love him ever, but especially at that amount of minutes. I think for the top three, you can get here. The total's high enough. It makes sense to take some stabs. Right now, I'm only getting Nurkic, though, which doesn't feel awesome. I mean, that's a pretty big stand on Nurkic. I'd like to get more, like 10% Markkanen, 10% Keontae George. I think that feels a little more right to me. Cleveland, 132 implied points. Really big ownership coming for Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Despite the high total, though, I don't have these guys nearly as much. My projection on Mitchell is about 2 fantasy points lower, 44.9. Actually, not even 2. 44.9 compared to 46.3. Evan Mobley, I'm lower on, getting 37 compared to 41. Garland, I'm lower on, getting 33 compared to 35.2. I still have the same amount of points as the as the Vegas implied total, so I think I have it getting more evenly distributed. Certainly, though, you could have Sam Merrill not putting up 15, DeAndre Hunter not putting up 13, Craig Porter Jr. whatever, like not scoring as much, and more of it can flow towards Mobley, towards Garland, towards Mitchell. But in my data, I'm not getting that as a central assumption, so not really getting to Cleveland that much. Obviously, with the total being what it is, like I get why you would get here. But I think they seem more than appropriately priced. Nobody on the team besides Sam Merrill over a 5x value to me. And Sam Merrill with a high total too, like he's a lights out 3-point shooter. Maybe part of the way they go nuts here on Utah is that he just knocks down a bunch of threes into the 28 minutes that he's going to play. I'm just not nuts about anything Cleveland here. So getting Merrill at 17%, Fields at 10, fading Mitchell and Mobley's ownership, I could live with that. Boston, 115.5 implied points. Indiana, 110 implied points on their part of things. Let's see. We got Peyton Pritchard at 100%, like we talked about. He's in all my lineups. Fields at 80%, though. And again, just with what game theory being what it is, if you were to put him in 50% and just try to roll the dice and see what you can get if Peyton Pritchard gets hurt or if he just really, really underperforms in an unexpected way. But the big thing is when you take Jaylen Brown off the court, there's all the opportunity in the world for these guys. If I just guess, I would say no matter what, 2 out of 3 of Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Anthony Simons are likely to have as close to a ceiling day as they'll ever have. Taking Jaylen Brown off just matters so much for these guys because he's basically, a normal 2 players roles roll into 1. Just getting so many shots up, scoring so many points. And Boston still has a really good total, especially for a 4-game slate. And they're a 5.5-point favorite on the road, even with no Jaylen Brown. We got Neemias Queta at 35%, Fields at 13. Again, not crazy there, but if Indiana just is terrible and Boston blows them out, Queta maybe going nuts could be a part of that, I suppose. But really the big thing is he's cheap enough. You got no Jaylen Brown, and it's a matchup where I've got him at 1.17 expected fantasy points per minute. Anthony Simons, I am under the field on. He just doesn't pop enough for me here in the 26.1 minutes Stokastic has given him. Certainly, though, he should get the big uptick as well, or a similarly big uptick, as Peyton Pritchard and Derek White. Anthony Simons has hit enough this year. He does gain 28% usage when you get Jaylen Brown off the court, but he's only, he's at 22.5% on the year normally. So it's a pretty big jump up. I'm surprised to be as low on Simons as I am, but Stokastic at a 26.3 projection too. It's not that great either. And Simons, like we showed earlier, like he's only putting up 1 and change fantasy points a minute, like literally 1.01, fantasy points a minute with Jaylen Brown off the court. So he's not that much better of a player either. So that's where I think things get a little bit weird for, how it looks for for Anthony Simons right now. But that said, if you want to get more here, Fields at 15%, go nuts. Sam Hauser has a Q tag on him still, 27% for the field. I'm getting 19%. Not a priority play, but much like all these other guys, he gains opportunity for having no Jaylen Brown out there. Hugo Gonzalez, Fields at 10. I'm getting 13. Not really a good play to me, but he's shooting guard small forward in 3,600, so I'm sure he makes some lineups work. Jordan Walsh, 10% for the field. I'm getting 11. You're going to get Boston today. It's a really good total, and there's no Jaylen Brown. It's kind of as simple as that. If I win the millie, I'll add Spags face tattoo. Yeah, okay. Not, sure. I'll give you the full legal rights to that if you need it. No trademark on this beautiful mug, sadly. Indiana, 110 implied points here. No Benedict Mathurin. We saw Andrew Nembhard go nuts over the weekend with Mathurin out. He's a Q tag as well with his back tightness, I guess, looming. If Nembhard gets ruled out, Nesmith, Siakam, more in play. As it is, these guys are now priced up a pretty good amount for having Mathurin out. A match versus Boston on paper, never really a good one. Getting Jaylen Brown off will sort that out a little bit more in the positive way for Indiana. But that said, nothing here popping for Indiana, even on a 4-game slate. Jay Huff at 8%, Nesmith at 4, Nembhard at 1, Siakam at 3 for me. All tournament options for sure. I would assume he would put my face somewhere respectable and respectful in the tattoo, but I guess I have no legal rights to declare that now that I've given them away here on stream. Philadelphia right now, Stokastic did not have Kelly Oubre getting minutes, but he's available to play, so you assume he's going to get at least some minutes if he doesn't quite get the 30-plus he got yesterday. Embiid and Paul George being Q tags here are the big things. You take those guys out, Maxey will look better, Edgecombe will look better, Grimes will look better, Oubre will look better, Drummond and Bono will be splitting minutes but still look better. So that's the thing we need to know right now. It is a 7:30 Eastern game today, so you'll hopefully know that before lock, though if it does drag out, you may not. But for Embiid and Paul George right now with them in, I don't think you should get anything from the spot. Embiid, I might want to juke the usage up a little bit for because he didn't hit versus Orlando. That sucked. Really cost me some nice lineups. I think that was on Friday. But for Embiid, he has generally been better this year, producing 1.35 fan sports minute. Today, I'd have him at 1.26. I have been boosting Embiid on slates lately because visually he's passed the test for me a lot lately. The fact he's not falling down to the floor repeatedly and just the fucking flopping like a fish and just like kind of playing more normally and not always at injury risk because he's kind of not jumping as much anymore. I think Embiid's a good play, and going against Toronto, you got nothing to stop him. So I think I'll boost Embiid here and get more, but right now I'm only at 2% if he does play. Toronto, 108 implied points here. With Ingram in, these guys all look good besides Ingram, basically. Barnes, Fields at 28%, I'm getting 19. Quickly, 20%, I'm getting 55. Murray Boyles, 18% for the field, I'm getting 35. Jamal Shed starting and now very safe minutes. Jacoby Walter also ruled out, 42% for the field, I'm getting 57. Really like all these guys. I mean, the biggest critique I would have is Jamal Shed is shooting terribly, but he's also probably due to shoot better as a result with that 50% true shooting. But I think for how Toronto looks at this point, right now, if I get these guys, I'm pretty happy with it because they all gain appreciable opportunity with Barrett off. If Ingram's out, though, I mean, Toronto's total's not awesome at 108. They are in a back-to-back too. But if you get Ingram out, it's just a guy who is getting a lot of opportunity who's gone. So I think they're all going to look even chalkier for me. I will point out, too, Elijah Martin closed and played OT in that game yesterday with Jacoby Walter out. So something where he could pick up more minutes here than expected. Stokastic's only giving him 15. He's not producing super well, in particular shooting terribly. But 0.9 fan sports minute for a guy shooting that terribly, there might be hope for him. I think he's been running hot in blocks and steals. So, like, for Elijah Martin, somebody to keep an eye out for in case he does somehow pick up a start. I don't think he will, but he could. That would be your right shoulder or butt cheek is what you're saying. Okay. I would take the shoulder, I think. But, again, it's your body. Your body, your choice. I say that for other people. I'll say that for you, too. Brooklyn, 107.5 implied points here. Dallas, 112 implied points. MPJ, you saw my big stand on him, getting him 69% of my top 150. Fields at 22. He just projects 3.2 fantasy points higher for me than Stokastic. Does play at about a 1.3 fantasy point minute pace on the year with Cam Thomas off the court. Nick Claxton, dead with the Fields, 38% ownership right now. He looks good at about a 32.1 projection for me. Stokastic has been at 32.8. Not a big difference there. Noah Clowney, Fields at 19%. I'm getting 19, about a 26.5 projection on Noah Clowney. Danny Wolf, 33% for the field. I'm getting 43. Terrence Mann, 14% of the field. I'm getting 15. It's not a great total for Brooklyn again, but it looks worse here because of how like high Cleveland's is in terms of the color coding of the sheet. For Brooklyn, the fact you're getting Cam Thomas out just helps out a lot because these guys are not priced for that right now. Dallas, 112 implied points on their side. Like I talked about, Cooper Flagg failed miserably over the weekend. Ryan Nembhard was good in the first half, kind of petered out in the second half. But they have all the opportunity in the world for Anthony Davis being off the court for probably another month. PJ Washington will be back at some point soon, but he's not going to be back today, it looks like. So Flagg, 37% for the field. I'm getting 36. My projection is a little bit higher than Stokastic at 42.5 compared to 41.6. Do you think he'll play better in this spot? Again, pace down spot versus a bad defense. To me, that's what Cooper Flagg's bread and butter is. We'll see if he hits again tonight. I think like lock that one in because this will be the third spot where he's like hit his ceiling against a pace down situation with bad defense. For Klay Thompson, fields at 22%. I'm only getting 6. I think there's better value on the slate than Klay Thompson. Like Jamal Shead, I would play 8 times out of 10 over him. But nobody else looks that great. If Daniel Gafford is out, he got downgraded to questionable. Musa Cisse might come into the mix a little bit more. I'd have him for 1.1 fan sports minute today. If he somehow started for Gafford and played 22 minutes, I think that he'd be a nice value at 3,300. But as it is right now, Cooper Flagg, the only one that matters to me. Klay Thompson, I think, looks like a fade. And then your late slate games, not even on FanDuel today, but if you need the data here, Luka Doncic looking good. Nobody else in the Lakers standing out too much, though I do have LeBron a little bit underprojected probably. Sacramento, you're going to get a bunch of guys potentially here because the prices are coming down a little bit, and also no Dennis Schroeder. After he tried to attack Luka Doncic, apparently. Charlotte, late slate. LaMelo Ball's minutes, about 26. Stokastic data. Nothing too exciting that we're missing out on today. Kawhi and Harden, always quality plays. Zubac, always a quality play. Zubac does protect really well for me. Really, I don't feel like I'm missing out on any plays where I'm like, oh man, I wish I had access to this guy. Besides Luka, like that's about it. All right, we're going to go to Stokastic next. We're going to run a sim without my interference, guys. As we do that, as we head over here, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You guys know the deal here. As anybody in YouTube needs, need that like button, need that subscribe button. It's not just a catchphrase. It actually is a thing that affects viewership, affects really in particular how many impressions you get shown to people out there. So like on a good day for this channel, I get about 10,000 impressions. If you guys hit the like button, sometimes it gets to 15,000, and that just means more views because people see the thumbnail, they click it, and then usually they're going to like the content enough and they'll come along for the ride. So please help me keep fighting that good fight. Hit the like button, subscribe, and if nothing else, you're learning YouTube optimization here. So I think I added value with that process. Check out Stokastic as well. You're going to see their sim in a moment here without my data involved. So go check it out for yourself on your own by joining down below and using that promo code SPLASH. You can link in the description. Hop over there, use the promo code SPLASH when you sign up and get 15% off any package, any that they have to offer. And of course, the Discord, $5 to join. And you can do that down below if you want to be part of the live chats or get access to the Discord. And of course, if you want to also get my data, check the Squirt Squad tiers and get that updated throughout the night as well. All right, Peyton Pritchard in your top ROI lineup. Not a surprise. Peyton Pritchard, D'Angelo Russell makes it. So some more minutes to go around for him with Brandon Williams doubtful again. Last game versus Chicago, just real fast because I didn't look at Russell's minutes that closely. Russell played 19 minutes, but they were also kind of getting their ass kicked through a lot of that, especially the tail end. Yeah, not great minutes expectation, in my opinion, for D'Angelo Russell, but he does make this top lineup. D'Angelo Russell, Michael Porter Jr., my boy, Scotty Barnes, Neemias Queta makes it, Manuel Quickly makes it, Murray Boyles makes it, Claxton makes it. Like everything about this lineup besides D'Angelo Russell. That's how I feel about that. Number 2, Peyton Pritchard, Anthony Simons, Hugo Gonzalez. Okay, so getting some value there. Scotty Barnes, Jared Allen, Jamal Shead, Michael Porter Jr., Quickly. Allen and Hugo, not priority plays for me. Simons, I get it, even though he projects super well. But, you know, these are good lineups. Obviously, you know, Stokastic data we trust more than me, as you should. Jamal Shead at 3, Anthony Simons, Hugo Gonzalez, Pascal Siakam, Nicholas Claxton, Peyton Pritchard, Michael Porter Jr. again, Quickly. Love the Porter Jr. representation. Number 4, Keontae George, Derek White, Hugo Gonzalez. Again, there's a lot of Hugo Gonzalez. Scotty Barnes, Jared Allen, Jamal Shead, Colin Murray Boyles, Nick Claxton. And number 5, you got Jamal Shead again, D'Angelo Russell again, Michael Porter Jr. again, Evan Mobley, Joel Embiid makes this one, Peyton Pritchard back in it, Danny Wolf, Nick Claxton. Highest ROI players, Hugo Gonzalez, your highest ROI player at 3,600. He's the only guy with a positive ROI on this slate for Stokastic. I get he should be guaranteed more minutes with Jaylen Brown out, but is he actually guaranteed more minutes? Because I don't think he is. Like, I think they could go Kada, Walsh, Simons, Pritchard, White easily. So I cast a very quizzical eye towards Hugo Gonzalez being this master play according to Stokastic. Number 2, Emmanuel Quickly. Love it. He's going to look even better if Ingram's out. Number 3, Neemias Queta. And also, too, Quickly, for what it's worth, gets the biggest rate uptick for having Barrett off the court, too. But, you know, if you get Ingram out, too, it doesn't matter. Everybody looks awesome if you get Ingram out. Neemias Queta at number 3. D'Angelo Russell at number 4. Wow, they love D'Angelo Russell. 3,400. Might be this price tag, 3,400 for Russell, 3,600 for Hugo Gonzalez. You might just need that salary to cram in the spike day guys around them. So that'd be my guess. Jamal Shed, number 5 here. Like him the most out of the value guys they've shown us. Highest exposed guys. Peyton Pritchard, 76% of lines for Stokastic. Fields at 80.5. So to me, Peyton Pritchard looks like an every lineup play for Stokastic. You are shaving a little bit off. It's tough, man. I get it from the game theory perspective of coming under on Peyton Pritchard, but there are not a lot of times I have a guy at 6,900 projected for just shy of 50 fantasy points being like the number 1 guy in the slate. Like, I know it might seem like, oh, Spags just doing willy-nilly shit with this data. But like, you see, if you're here every day, you know what my data looks like every single day. It just doesn't happen that often. So I am team just maybe not lock Peyton Pritchard, but get him more in the field, get him as much as you can. But Stokastic wants to get a little bit less. I don't think Simons started this year. Doesn't mean he cannot. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he would start, but I think closing would be the thing. He has closed even with, them going the 3 guards plus him, which surprises me because that makes no sense to me as a lineup. So I don't know. I think Simons, if he were to start, sure, but if he doesn't start, yeah, he still could get to that pretty good minute ceiling. Still fading D'Lo for Ryan Nembhard, sure. Nembhard definitely guaranteed more minutes and more reliable minutes. Again, like Russell got minutes of the blowout last game, which is a bad scene for him as a vet. Jamal Shed, 67% exposure in Stokastic's top 150, Fields at 43. Again, he's the best value on the slate right now. If you get Ingram out, it's going to be even better. But Jamal Shed going to play probably about 30 minutes of this game. Stokastic right now has him a little bit high, I think, at 32 and change. Not the best producer in the world, but if Ingram is out, it will make it a lot easier to get there and feel really good about getting him as much as possible. Nick Claxton, 61% exposure, Fields at 40. Big stand on Nick Claxton here at 5,700. It's a slate where you don't have to pay up that often. So in a balanced build, a guy like Nick Claxton will work pretty well. Manuel Quickly, you're getting 44% in Stokastic's top 150, Fields at 19. So even though Quickly, a guy that they have a little bit more lowly projected than I have him at, you're getting 2x the field, and again, will only look better if Ingram is out. And Scotty Barnes, 44%, Fields at 28. So big stand on all the Raptors, or the key Raptors here, between Shed, Quickly, and Barnes, and probably the case that it should be at, because these guys are a little bit too cheap for Barrett to be out again, and they're going to be way too cheap if Ingram is out as well. Your highest leverage plays: Quickly, 25% more in the field. Jamal Shed, 24% more in the field. Not a surprise with what we just saw. Hugo Gonzalez, 23% more in the field. Again, that price tag, plus the shooting guard, small forward positionality, probably helps you get in a lot of the guys they really think you need to get to here. I mean, what did I have of Hugo? Where am I at with that? So I'm just going back to this screen for myself. Yeah, I got Hugo at 13. And my projection was 0.7 lower. So it might be like that narrow of a thread between a good enough Hugo Gonzalez day and a bad Hugo Gonzalez day. But yeah, Stokastic giving you 35% Hugo Gonzalez, Fields at 10. It's a really big Hugo Gonzalez stand. I guess that's all I could say about that. Sometimes they get the shit right. Sometimes they don't. That's how that goes. But it is a noteworthily big stand. Nick Claxton, 61% exposure, Fields at 40. Again, big stand there. And Barnes, who we saw already, 44%, Fields at 28. Kada, their next highest leverage guy, Michael Porter Jr. right after that. He's at 39% exposure, and the Fields at 25. Biggest fades here: Derek White, negative 24% leverage. Wow, only 36% exposure. The $8,400 price tag is a little bit expensive, but he projects really well. It does seem, though, like maybe your line's get a little bit too doopy if you go with Derek White and what Stokastic is seeing. Klay Thompson, 5% exposure, Fields at 21. I'm cool with that fade as well. He didn't look great in my data. Daniel Gafford, 4% exposure, Fields at 16. He was a downgrade to questionable. Doesn't mean he won't play, but easy to fade him no matter what. Evan Mobley, 25% exposure, Fields at 37. I was low on Mobley as well, though much lower than that. I still think Cleveland looks as good as they should, given the matchup they have with Utah today. And Najee Marshall, only 2% exposure, Fields at 13. He has a lot of opportunity with no AD, no PJ Washington, no Brandon Williams, most likely today. All those guys, well, the latter two, doubtful. So for Najee Marshall, he's 6,100, but yeah, he's not a priority play, but he does have a theoretical upside for the situation in Dallas right now. All right, so that's their sim stuff. Let's do a hand build, and then we'll call it a day. Send you guys on your merry way with a handy. That's always the goal. Oh, oops. I want to click the game. All right, all matchups. There we go. I'm going to go large contests, 25% to first. Ugly 8 game posted his the Discord that in the Discord, the chat that he'll, what am I saying? The tattoo that he'll get in the there. All right, so check it out if you want to see it. If you remember the Discord, you could see what Ugly 8 game wants to get as a tattoo. I appreciate you putting this much thought in. I don't have a way to show it on screen, so I'll save it. I'll save the surprise for myself off stream as well. All right, let me sort by projection on my sheet here. Let's build this out. The point guard for me is obviously going to be Peyton Pritchard. I don't even need to look at this sheet for that. Should be your first guy in. Cash games especially, but for large field tournaments, I think you'd rather play him than not. Shooting guard for me is Derek White. See how Stokastic feels about loading up on Celtics, given that big fade that they have on Derek White. Small forward will be MPJ for me. I appreciate the sentiment. I hope they do join to see your artwork. I don't know if they're going to join. If they're not joining for NBA data on an NBA DFS video, I'm not sure they're joining for artwork, but I love the optimism, and I hope you're right. Power forward. Murray Boyles, Danny Wolf. I think Danny Wolf, relative to exposure, would be my guy. Barnes I could get to as well. I'm going to put Barnes in. Just going to build Toronto here. This is one of those lineups, because I am going to put in Jamal Shed as well at guard. This is one of those lineups that I think will project well now. And then if Ingram is out, it's going to project even better. And I do like those kind of lineups here when we do the video, in the 2 o'clock hour. Center for me, Nurkic, Keita, Murray Boyles. Let's go Murray Boyles. Playing big minutes. Sucks to back-to-back. Feels a little bit weird to load up on a back-to-back team, but that's okay. In the Discord, to win 100K in NBA and lose 100K in NBA. Well, that's also important to learn. I'd rather, probably the former more so. If you join the Discord, show your tramp stamp. I appreciate the generosity, guys. Lots of great sales pitches to join the Discord down below. All right, forward. We got 4150 left for these last 2 spots. Might have spent too much money. Now I think this is why we get Danny Wolf. Fucking Danny Wolf. All right, Danny Wolf comes in at a 4K salary, 4,300 left. Jay Huff. Let's see, who do we have available? Yeah, Jay Huff, Klay Thompson. Maybe this is why people are getting Klay Thompson too. Let me see if I could go down. The Cooper flag is small forward only, right? Let me put Wolf in at power forward. Instead of Scotty Barnes, we're going to go Cooper Flag, because I do like the spot for him going against Brooklyn. And frankly, an MPJ Cooper Flag head-to-head could be fun to have as a thing on the slate. Now I can get to DeAndre Hunter, who sucks. But he does project well for Stokastic because of the data that they, because of the Vegas total and how they do their projections. I think, from what I've noticed, honestly, this weekend in NFL and NBA, I feel like they might be weighting Vegas total even higher than they ever have before. I don't know anecdotally, if I haven't talked to anybody about it, but I really like all the Vegas total stuff lately. Like the highest totals, get really highly projected lately. They always will, because that's how projections work, but it's been really noteworthy. All right, I'll put DeAndre Hunter in. Not a guy I have any feel for. I'd probably move this lineup around a little bit more. But we got Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Michael Porter Jr., Danny Wolf, Colin Murray Boyles, Jamal Shed, Cooper Flag, DeAndre Hunter. 10% ROI. Would have liked more on that. How can I improve this? Maybe no Derek White? I feel like that's what they didn't like in their own sims. So maybe that's it. It's quickly a shooting guard. Quickly's not a shooting guard. Flag is also point guard only. Is Peyton Pritchard a shooting guard? No. Fuck, man. All right, I'm going to go Pritchard again. Keep him in no matter what. It's so dumb that Flag is point guard, small forward. Why not shooting guard, small forward? That'd make my life a lot easier for this, what I would like to do here. Today's game totals are anomalous. The game is like 25 points over the other three. That is a fair point. That is a fair point. But I mean, like, it was over the weekend too. Same thing for Bills Jags, and that was the highest on the slate relatively. You know, and you had parts of that hit, but it just felt like they were jamming. I don't know. It felt a little bit heavy relative to things, but it is what it is. That one's not the best example because many Jags pieces you needed, but whatever. I think it's just got to not be Derek White. I think that's like the main thing here. The issue is, like, for me, it absolutely is Derek White. I know, you fuckers. I knew somebody's going to say Simons. I was thinking Simons too. Oh, it's not a Simons guy. But it does make sense if you're not playing Derek White, go Simons. So I can live with that in that perspective. And now we can get Flag in. And now he gets a less shitty utility. Evan Mobley, though, I don't love Evan Mobley either. Maybe go back to Barnes at power forward. So there's a lot more swapping than I usually do. Now 3,700 left for utility. Grady Dick, Hugo Gonzalez, and we know the Sim's going to love this. Oh, you put Hugo Gonzalez in? Gold medal, 10,000% ROI. Peyton Pritchard, there we go, 31% ROI. Not 10,000, but close enough. Peyton Pritchard, Anthony Simons, Michael Porter Jr., Scotty Barnes, Colin Murray Boyles, Jamal Shed, Cooper Flag, Hugo Gonzalez. Like the Simons part, I'm definitely willing to move off of. The Hugo Gonzalez part, definitely willing to move off of. I really support Derek White more than the Sim was allowing me to get to here. But that's it for now, guys. Again, I will be on Stokastic later today for football. This is the end of my NBA journey. But I will give you guys my splash plays for the day in one moment. Before I do that, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Again, one more ask here. It does go a long way for every creator you enjoy on YouTube. But in particular, me, I pay attention to the numbers, and I know when I get a certain amount of likes, the amount of impressions go up, the amount of impressions go up, the views go up, the revenue goes up, the knee bone's connected to the leg bone. So it is like, that's just what the game is here. So help me out, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll keep showing up and doing the work for you guys Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. And of course, our projections are available Saturdays as well, because we do the live before lock on Stokastic on Saturdays. Check out Stokastic, 15% off all their data, all their tools, link down below. Then use that promo code SPLASH when you get over. That's the only way you're going to get that money off. Don't just click the link. Use the promo code SPLASH when you do pay or sign up. All the stuff they have, weekly, monthly, cheap stuff, expensive stuff, all 15% off over at Stokastic, so check it out. And last but not least, if you want to really support the show, want to be a part of the live chats as well, where you can talk to me about tramp stamps and such, or, you know, your own tattoo real goals, join down below, $5 to join. I recommend joining on desktop instead of iOS, because it is cheaper on computer as opposed to paying through Apple. But join down below, and you will get access to the Discord along with the live chats here when I record the videos. And if you join one of the Squirt Squad tiers, you get my data in different forums, so check that out down below. All right, splash plays for the day. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, easy. Michael Porter Jr., Cooper Flag. Though Flag I'm not really taking a big stand on, but I like Flag more than the ownership I got. So I will put Cooper Flag in. I hate center. But Murray Boyles I'll be up on. Cade I'll be up on. It's a lot of names to give you, but these are going to be like the majority exposure guys for me. So do what you want with that. And if you get Ingram out, Quickly's going to look infinitely better too. He already looks good to me. Shed's a splash play for sure. Shed too. It's a lot of plays. That's a whole lineup of plays, guys. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Bets on YouTube, at Splash Play Pod on Twitter. And I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for more. So enjoy your days, guys. Good luck. And I will see you again soon. And again, Stokastic for NFL today, 7:15. Last Monday Night Football, live before lock 'em on. Then I think I'll be doing NBA shows for them every Monday too. So join me on that NFL journey. Check out my Splash Play Pod channel as well if you want to see the NFL Showdown video. I did for that too. But if not, go fuck yourself. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.